What's up, guys? It's your boy Josh Showtime and my man's 100 grand, Josh Vaez. This is Showtime's Fight Phone. We talk all things fights. And today's special edition is going to be boxing. All right, obviously, my man Vaez is here. So we're going to talk some boxing. And we got to talk about potentially, I don't know, well, since the incident that happened with Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia, we can officially say the biggest upset in boxing this year so far. And that is Anthony Joshua getting KO'd, not TKO'd, KO'd by Daniel Dubois in a fun fight. Like, I don't know if you've been, I don't know if we could say, but actually I'll say this has been like one of the better years for heavyweights as far as like entertainment value. Like, if you want to, like, if you really think about it, like the Usyk Fury fight, crazy. Anthony Joshua and Francis Ngannou, even if you want to say it was a circus, it was a fun fight just because he got pieced up pretty good. Then obviously you have the Jared Anderson fight. That fight was really fun. And then this fight here, these heavyweight fights this year have all been bang, 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 and we're getting finishes. And even if the Usyk fight, which wasn't a finish, it damn near was close to a finish. So I'm loving what we're seeing in the heavyweight world right now. But we got to talk about Anthony Joshua and Daniel Dubois. So first thing first, how did you feel about the fight?
Well, I feel how you just explained the heavyweight division. I feel like this fight was explosive from literally round one until the stoppage. So I thought Triple D came out very loose, very relaxed. He looked like the champion. He was the champion, and he delivered like the champion. If we're being honest, I really appreciated Anthony Joshua's effort. I thought he was trying, but it looked like Triple D was ready to fight. And Daniel Dubois had a game plan. He stuck to the game plan, and when it was time to deliver that last blow, he didn't miss.
Yeah, and here and Anthony Joshua has been known as being chinny. I think it's rightfully fair to say he gets hurt and rocked in so many fights. You can go back, and he's gotten dropped. He's gotten hurt so many times. Even got hurt by Usyk, who he probably outweighs about 40 or 50 pounds. But yet and still, you got to give him a little credit because he got hit with some bombs before that last shot. And the ones that did drop him were bad. Like, one of them was it was a looping shot, land flush on the chin that dropped him. And he clearly was hurt when he got up. But it's the fact that he still was able to keep getting up and keep on fighting. We already saw what happened where he hurt Dubois and literally was close. Well, I ain't gonna say close. I don't know how close. But he was on his way to getting his own stoppage, which left him open to get countered and obviously getting KO'd. But shout out to Anthony Joshua for once again showing that he's a little chinny, but he's tough, man. He's not an easy go for anybody. But the star of the show and the guy you have to talk about is Dubois. And it's just, he was the underdog. The guy people honestly looked over. People was honestly looking over. We got to be honest. It's not like people were sitting here saying, this is going to be a super competitive fight where Dubois should honestly win. Nobody said this. Everybody was saying Joshua was going to win. What's next? Does he get the big fight, which is Usyk 4? Or do we finally get the Anthony Joshua Tyson Fury fight? That is what everybody was talking about. So for Dubois to come in here and steal the show, and not just steal the show by just squeaking out a win or just getting a win like Joseph Parker was doing. Nah, I am going to dominate. And I am going to hurt him badly multiple times. Shout outs. You show power, you show toughness, and you showed that at the end of the day, man, I'm still young. Like, Dubois doesn't look like he's 28 or however old he is. He looked like he's about 34, 35. So the fact that you find out that he's still in his his late 20s, this man is still getting better.
Absolutely. And when you not only his age with Daniel Dubois, but also the people he's lost to. He only has 2 fights on his record where he's lost. He's 27-2 now. And you may ask yourself, well, who are those guys? Well, one of them is Usyk, and the other
everybody.
and the other one is Joe Joyce, who is a solid fighter, right? He's right there too. So we're talking about a guy who took some losses in his career, but they weren't bad losses. So I would say the disrespect for him going into the fight, if you really knew the boxing game, it was a little too far gone. I think this is because Anthony Joshua was on this hot streak. We saw him reel off KO win after KO win. But to your point, Anthony Joshua has always been a chin fighter. I
Yes.
mean, he has been clipped by Vladimir Klitschko, and at 40 years old, he's been clipped
Andy
by
Ruiz,
Andy Ruiz, out of shape Andy Ruiz, and you got Dubois,
Usyk.
a heavy hitter. So really, he gets clipped by everybody. If you're old, you can clip him. If you're fat
Yes.
and out of shape, you can clip him. If you hit hard, you can clip him. So
And it's the reason why everybody has said if the big fight, which I personally thought would have been the biggest fight in heavyweight, which was Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua, whatever happened, Deontay Wilder would have killed him. That's the reason why a lot of people said that.
yeah, and who's to say they would be wrong on that? So I feel like for me, this was definitely a coming out party for Daniel Dubois. I think that if you were a casual and didn't know him, you just were watching for Anthony Joshua, you had to have become a fan of his afterwards. I think what he should do next is just wait for the winner of Usyk and Fury. If it's Usyk who comes victorious against Fury, perfect. You get your rematch. If it's Fury, perfect. You get a Tyson Fury fight for the undisputed championship. Let Usyk and Joshua have a fourth fight to see who gets that fight against them. Or somebody fight Joe Joyce, whatever the case may be. But in my personal opinion, I think it's Dubois showed that he's the champion for a reason, and he should decide what he wants to do next. I don't think he should force a fight with Joe Joyce or anything like that. Just sit back and wait for undisputed.
I actually believe that he should. I think Daniel Dubois should have another fight. The reason why I'll say this is one, I'm kind of giving away my picks, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. I think Tyson Fury is going to win the rematch, which is going to end up making a trilogy towards the fight. And honestly, that's kind of what I hope, because I would love to see another big time trilogy, and this would be obviously the cause of it if Fury wins. But I have a big fight in making a heavyweight that should also be made in this. I mean, another big heavyweight fight that should determine who's fighting who next. And hear me out. Obviously, Daniel Dubois, he should be in the runner. Well, let's get a number one contendership for the undisputed belt by having him fight Martin Bucoli. Now, I think this fight is fireworks. It's fun because both guys have losses to great fighters. And at the end of the day, Bucoli has one loss, which is to Michael Hunter. And this is 5 or 6 years ago. He got TKO'd in the 10th round. We all know he doesn't have the greatest cardio, but yet still got knocked out in the 10th round. He will kill Michael Hunter right now. He is 31 years old, which means the time is now for him if he's going to get that title shot. He hasn't lost, like I said, in 5 years, and he's what? Let's look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 fight win streak. And this man is getting better. And he just knocked out Jared Anderson, who everybody thought was going to be a future heavyweight champion. He still might be. But he showed from round one that I am notches above Jared Anderson. And to do that is not easy. So I am going to say that this needs to be the next fight to make. Because everybody's ducking him. Nobody really wants to fight him. I don't think Daniel Dubois is that type of dude. So let's make this fight happen. Everybody's ducking, but I don't think Daniel will duck. Let it happen. Let them determine. And then we got a fresh face for either Tyson Fury or Usyk to stack up their resume. I don't want to keep seeing rematches, personally.
Yeah, I agree to that. I think the rematch clause, the trilogy fights are nice, but to your point, we do like to see a little bit of a round robin. If the first fight or two were not as explosive, we don't want to see a third. So to your point, I agree. I do like that call with him there. So yeah, I mean, anything can happen, right? I mean, the heavyweight division, I think, is wide open. You said it yourself, Jared Anderson could still very well be in the mix with another high-profile fight. Edgar Berlanga is talking about joining the heavyweight division now. So there's just a lot going on in that division. But then again, like I said, for Dubois, I just would say to myself, look, I just beat the people's champ in Anthony Joshua, either him or Tyson Fury. Let's be honest.
Yes.
I think he deserves to sit back and observe I do agree that they may do a trilogy fight, and I think at that point he could make a decision to have a showcase fight.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, if I'm Daniel, and let's say I am waiting until that fight to decide if I'm gonna. Obviously, if Usyk like Deuce Eggs Tyson Fury, then yeah, I'm not worried about Martin. I don't want to even try to test myself with that power. I've gotten knocked out twice already. That man punches harder than probably anybody else in that division. Why would I even risk it? So I get it. I get it. But if it is going to be a trilogy and it's going to be another 6 or 7 months before they even fight again, and then you got to wait another 6 or 7 months before you fight, you're putting yourself out for way too long. You're young. Like I said, he just turned 27. Just turned 27. So you're super young in the game still. You don't want to waste your years. One thing I loved about Canelo is he stayed active. He made his money by challenging himself, but yet and still he took some easy fights in the meantime as well when he was fighting 4 times in a whole year and stuff like that. It's like get your rounds in, get as good as you can. Don't limit yourself. Don't do this one fight a year kind of mold that Floyd did, and you're only 27. Like that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, he has his whole career ahead of him. Even with the 2 losses, like I said, those are against Usyk and Joe Joyce. So I mean, I think that there's other opponents for him to fight. He's a fan friendly. If he can fight like this every single fight, he'll be on TV. That's for sure. He'll be
For
on.
sure.
So, and to your point, he's 27. So the sky is the limit for him. He's hitting his prime. I'm excited to see his future, and I think the division right now. You said it best to start this segment. The heavyweight division is as hot as it's ever been. I mean, there's
Yes.
some real fights going on, real good fights, and a lot of these guys are, in the prime of their career, or at least exiting at the minimum.
We've gotten 2 big upsets already in the heavyweight division within the last 2 months, with Jared Anderson getting KO'd, and then now Anthony Joshua getting KO'd. It was a beautiful KO. Now I do want to say let's turn this attention now to Anthony Joshua. How do we feel about Anthony right now, man? Like legacy right now is not the greatest thing you want to talk about or even capitulate. But yet and still, you got to give him credit for honestly always taking them newcomers, always being willing to fight, and showing that he does have some type of toughness. Because personally, I kind of questioned it a little bit, especially after the Andy Ruiz fight when he got knocked out and he got up smiling and stuff, and I'm just like, what? Why are we stopping the fight? Why is it over? Why are you smiling? What's going on? And so that kind of made me in a way be like, all right, man, what's going on in your personal life, or what are we doing mentally for you to be thinking this is okay? Like you were supposed to knock this dude out, and you got knocked out by somebody 5'8", 300 pounds. That just didn't make sense. So yeah, how are we feeling about Anthony Joshua?
Well, I'm feeling like how I've always felt about Anthony Joshua. He's like the Kurt Angle of boxing. He's like, you got to give him his credit because he's an Olympian. Okay? Kurt Angle was like a real Olympian, right? But I just feel like Anthony Joshua is just like, he's just, man.
Is your mic muted?
Is my mic muted? No. Can you not hear me?
No, I hear you, but I don't see your levels. My bad.
Are we good now? We
Yeah.
have some technical difficulties.
No, you're fine. I hope that I heard you, but I hope that the audio caught you. But keep going.
Oh, so yeah, I just feel like Anthony Joshua is just almost like an industry plant, He's just like in the mix because he's a really good Olympian, and let's be honest, like he does look like he could be on a commercial, selling, like he looks like he could play defensive end for the Panthers, right? He just looks like this big bodybuilder who does commercials like this for Pepsi, and is from British. So like I just feel like he's an industry plant, and him getting clipped the way he has been, it's always been how I feel about Sean O'Malley and all these other guys. They're just ticking time bombs that, yes, they have some credibility. We got to give them that. We got to respect that. But like, they're a walking leg, and I've always felt like Anthony Joshua was a walking leg. There's just something that didn't strike me about him as like a real killer. He did come along in some fights, and again, I'm not saying he can't fight. And I'm not saying he can't win more fights, but like I think the idea of like Anthony Joshua was like a killer and like he's a real puncher and someone who has, you know, first ballot Hall of Famer written all over him. Yeah.
You
Got
know, the thing is, it's funny you say he's an industry plant, and I honestly get that reference, and I'm not even mad at the reference to be honest with you, because here's the thing about Anthony Joshua. He is, no joke, the perfect guy you will want as a heavyweight world champion. He punches hard. He's a very handsome guy. He's big as hell, and he's extremely marketable. Like simple and plain. You got to keep it a band. Like sometimes, like the way you look, how your aura, your charisma, all that stuff factors into what we can sell, what we can like The Rock. What made The Rock so good? He had great charisma, but The Rock was a good looking guy. He looks like a bodybuilder. That's the reason why he started taking steroids. He started looking swole. This start turning into that image, and it's easier to sell. It's what you want because at the end of the day, like it's going to do numbers. We've seen what Anthony Joshua does. He sells out Wembley. He is a humongous star, and I'm not going to discredit his skill by saying he doesn't have skill, but I will say that it is not 100% skill based on why he sells out Wemby. It's a lot more like I know people who don't know nothing about boxing but know who Anthony Joshua is, and they're women. Like they'll just sit here and say, "Oh my God, he is. Oh my gosh, I can't believe. I know him. He's handsome." Like that type of he gets that. So you get the men who obviously love to see like knockouts. We love to see knockouts. He's a power puncher. At the end of the day, he does finish fights. But then he appeals to women just off of just the way he looks, the way he talks. People like British accents, this, that, and the third. So I get the whole plant thing because he's a marketable human being. He has a deal with Under Armour. He sells out all of his merch and stuff like that. Like he's a big star. But when it comes to the actual skill level, he is not that guy. He's never been that guy. Like he's a medalist. He's done Olympics, this, that, and the third. But we got to remember he started boxing late. That it's not like his number one. It was never his number one passion. And I ain't gonna say he cheated his way in, but at the end of the day, he slow rolled his way in. He did it at an old age. And when you're 20 taking in boxing or 18 taking on boxing, and you got people who are like Tyson Fury who've been boxing since you're 4, the skill gap is just not there. And his chin, and it's part of the do with his chin. You're not as technical as good as you need to be able to understand, like, I can't take these kind of punches, when I need to roll, when I can't go straight back. I can't leave my chin in the air. How to be patient when I hurt somebody to not just go in crazy, leave myself open to a big shot, knowing this is heavyweight, anybody can get hurt. It's just little stuff like that that shows that he's just technically not that guy. And he's never going to be that guy.
I think you ended it perfectly. He's just never going to be that guy. We're going to have moments where we're going to say, yeah, what do you think about Anthony Joshua years from now? Hey, he took on some tough fights that I knew he was going to lose.
Been in some classic fights. The the Klitschko fight is a certified classic.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, shoot, that's the one that kind of really like elevated him. Almost, that was supposed to be the passing of the torch fight for him.
Exactly, it was.
And he won it. So like,
but the thing is, he was the second person to do it, but he's the first one to stop him.
Right. So it definitely felt like he was getting there, but you know, again, I think you said it too. His aura of just him spoke more volume than his actual skills. Because even up until, let's say, recently, I mean, he wasn't really, like you just said, very technically sound as a boxer. He just punched hard, had his moments, you know. I'm just thinking about all the insults about Tyson Fury, calling him a diva, a bodybuilder, all these different things. So, yeah, I mean, I think the consensus around boxing was like, this is a good boxer, but like there are levels to this, like you just said. If you've been boxing, he's the Rolly of the heavyweights almost, with an Olympic medal, you know, Olympic experience. So
I don't want to disrespect about saying Rolly, man. Stop.
I wouldn't say Rolly, but let's be honest. Like he was a walking lick, like I said. So
yes, Anthony is a walking lick, and it's the whole thing of like he would never survive in the 90s. He wouldn't survive in the 70s.
No, he would never. He's not really surviving now. he's
I
getting
mean,
his ass kicked by everybody. Like, if you really
that's true.
think about it, he's lost all his big fights except for Vladimir Klitschko, and he wasn't supposed to win his rematch uh, with Pudgy over there. So it's at the end of the day, he he lost all his big fights, but we got to give him credit because he did take those fights. And some of these fighters, like a Usyk, are who? Considered one of the best heavyweights of our era right now. So like we got to give him credit for that. He stood in there. He tried different trainers. Went to Earl Spence's trainer. So we got to give him respect, man. And hats off to him. I think he deserves a couple big more fights after this for sure.
Absolutely.
Whether he loses or whatever, he deserves it. But yeah, just great, great marketable fighter, good fighter.
Yeah, I was gonna say good fighter. And at the end of the day, he has tapped out. I personally think on his skill level. This is what we're going to get from Anthony Joshua going forward. You're gonna get some really good performances. You're gonna get some terrible performances. Depends on who he is, and who he's fighting. I mean, and like you mentioned, he's lost his big fights. I mean, it outside of obviously the Vladimir Klitschko fight, which I mean in that fight he also got dropped by an old ass Klitschko who is not known as a power puncher. So I mean it's yes, like I said, I mean you don't want to poo poo on Anthony Joshua because I personally think he's probably a really good dude. I do like the fact that he is a pretty good guy to have as the face of a company. Like I mean, I would never say he's the face of boxing because I feel like that's always been Canelo ever since like Anthony became like who he is. It went from Floyd to Canelo, and it's been no in betweens that. I mean, in between of that. But he has been the face of like English boxing, him and Tyson Fury. When I think English boxing has always been Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, and that's fights that obviously the whole world wanted to see. It's pointless to see because unless you get a depressed, high, overweight Tyson Fury will kill him.
Yeah, and who knows what will happen after Usyk, right? Like Tyson Fury may say, "Hey, I just took 2 L's to Usyk. The fight with Anthony Joshua makes sense, then, right?" I know Eddie Hearn was looking at that. So, but to your point, yeah, I mean Anthony Joshua is just a good marketable fighter, but he's just not a great fighter.
Now, let's say Usyk wins again. Are we doing Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua? I feel like you have to.
Yeah, I just said that. That I would say like, I think even if Tyson loses against Usyk, you said he may go in there depressed and sad and fat. I'm saying he should probably just say, "Nah, I don't want to do that. Let me make sure I'm in shape for this Anthony Joshua fight that everybody wanted to see this entire time." And worst case scenario, I may not be the heavyweight pound for pound king, but I just won the British pound for pound king title, and that means a lot more to British people in some areas for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And the trash talking, you already know Wembley literally is going to sell out in minutes, maybe even seconds. So I mean, it's still a mega fight no matter what. It could be a send-off fight for either guy. Then also you could say winner can possibly get Deontay Wilder. We could do a fourth one, or possibly do a Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua. I don't know. You can. Yeah, I'm just trying to sweeten up the pot. But yet and still, I mean, it's been a crazy year in boxing. It's been a great year in boxing. I've been happy and looking forward to more fights. I mean, we obviously have Bivol and Better BF coming up in a week. A week and a half. I cannot wait. That's gonna be crazy. Finally get to see who is the best light heavyweight in the world. And it's gonna be fireworks. And then we got some more fights that's coming up too. I'm still waiting for that Tank Davis announcement. I think we know who he's fighting, but it hasn't been confirmed 100% yet. Same with Earl Spence. Apparently he's coming back soon. And there's a lot going on in boxing, so it's a great time, great space. But before we get off, man, anything you want to tell the people?
Make sure you follow us on that Twitter at Josh's Fight Forum. We're live on the Twitter timeline, so love to see y'all in the mentions.
All right. Oh, of course. Like you said, follow us on there. Also, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment as always, man. Appreciate you guys for watching all of our videos. And just keep on supporting, man. We appreciate it all of these times. But as always, man, that's all we got for right now. We're going to be back for some more fire probably next week. Just keep on checking us out and always be blessed.